Hello my beautiful people! Today we have some not so pretty enclosures that we need to make pretty again. Let me show you. I would say that I'm satisfied with approximately 50% of enclosures here with their appearance, which means that there is around half of enclosures that we can either fix, like this one, or the ones that we need to completely redo, like this one, for example. Today we will tackle two enclosures. First one is this arboreal enclosure with pOECILOTHERIA rufilata inside, a huge pOECILOTHERIA rufilata. We will take everything out because there is a mold in this corner. We will add drainage. We will refurbish the background and also add the plant. And second enclosure is right here. This is Sashenka. You know, you've seen her in a recent video. We need to fix all of this, and I will take all of the substrate out because there is a lot of styrofoam in it, which is of course something that I don't like, but we can reuse her hide and everything inside. So if you are interested to see how I will improve the enclosures, stick around and find out. We will start with beautiful rufilata. Of course, I need to get her out first, so I need something to put her inside. I think that I have some old enclosures. This will be ideal. I used to have a Nemo inside, the Caribena versicolor, male. It doesn't have a hide, but it doesn't really matter for a few days, which she will need to spend inside because the background will need to dry. Ooh. Let's just take this opportunity to check her out up close. You see her size. I think that she's around 17, maybe 18 centimeters. And her carapace is also really big for a pokey. Oh, yes. That is exactly where I want you to go. I know that the enclosure is not big enough for you, but for a few days you will be fine. I also need to give her water, so I will spray it down. Don't freak out too much. We need to increase the humidity in this enclosure. It doesn't have a proper substrate, so it won't retain it for long. But as I said, for a few days it will be fine. I'll put her aside and we can take a closer look at the enclosure. Her corkbark is completely fine. No signs of mold or anything, so it can definitely be reused. Then she will no longer need this. This was to support the corkbark because it was falling down all the time. Water dish, a plant that didn't really make it, you see. And bunch of mold on the side of the enclosure and probably on the inside where we cannot see it. And you see, for some reason the background here is damaged for some reason. Interesting, but we will cover everything with a black silicone and then cover it with dirt. So let's get this substrate out. I'll try not to make a lot of mess. By the way, I booked a table for Živa Exotica Expo in Prague in May. Yes, in May. In the description you will find all the information in regards to Expo and also the Dark Den catalog, a link to the Dark Den catalog where you can see everything that I can bring. I will bring only animals that are reserved and I won't bring a trailer, so I probably won't have a lot of glass enclosures. So if you need something, send me an email or DM to my Instagram or Facebook to reserve what you want, what you need. Hopefully we'll see you there. I forgot that I can remove the door like that. This enclosure is empty. Now I need to do the same thing for Sashenka's enclosure and then I can take them all upstairs to wash the enclosures. Yeah, it definitely needs a good wash. Look at all of this poop. That is a lot of poop. Arboreals are known for pooping on the side of the enclosure. Or even better, right on the door. Now to do the same for Sashenka. Same thing, I also have an empty enclosure for her, so she can go directly into that. Oh, don't fall down like that. Yeah, just go directly into this enclosure, just like that. We will also add a little bit of humidity inside. Yep. And now she can wait. But it is incredible what she did. She really destroyed it good. Now we have some pieces of wood inside, you see, like this one. We will reuse all of that. And this corkbark, this huge and nice corkbark, you see? It is actually much bigger than I thought. Also, no signs of mold or anything like that, so it can be safely reused. And this final piece of wood, also in a good shape. I should not forget to take off the door. And now same thing. All of this substrate needs to go out because you see, even though it is not moldy or anything like that, but there are these chunks of styrofoam everywhere, and yeah, I'll just add a fresh batch of substrate and we will be done with that. Also, I will take off this big label. For some time now I want to redo all of my labels. Instead of having them on the enclosure, I want to have the labels underneath the enclosure. You see right here under each enclosure I want to have a label so it won't obscure what is inside of the enclosure, even though these do not obscure anything. But you see in this enclosure, when you're looking like this, you cannot see this part of the enclosure because of the label. I will most likely do it like that. Back to taking the substrate out. For RUFILATA I will add the drainage layer, but for sashenka I won't. She doesn't need as much humidity as pOECI, so I can keep the enclosure a bit drier. And also we won't have a live plant inside, but for RUFILATA I will add the live plant. Let's get this substrate out. I can go wash them. And I had to wait for like a half a day because I totally forgot. Once you clean the enclosure, it gets wet and it needs to dry out because silicone doesn't want to adhere to wet surface. So yeah, now it is dry and now we can apply it. So black silicone and then dry dirt. That's basically all. The only thing that worries me a bit, I'm kinda low on silicone. Hopefully this will be enough for this background, and then I will use this black sealant for sashenka's enclosure. Both are equally safe, but sealant got a weird smell that lasts a bit longer than the silicone. Even though it starts, silicone is way more potent because it is, what is the word? Really, no English language on the packaging. You know, the stuff that you use to make a salad. That is the smell now. So with my protected finger, I go to town. And unlike when I'm doing this directly on the styrofoam, I don't really care if I miss a spot. It will just add to a more interesting texture. At least that is what I'm hoping for. Look how you can still see part of the old background. I'm really hoping that this will work out. I have no idea, I never tried it. But what can really go wrong, huh? There we go. We will see the results tomorrow. Now first we need to clean these parts that are hanging off. I'll actually use a scalpel to cut them. If that will work out, of course. It did surprisingly well, but you know what I want to do? I actually want to reshape this part to make it a bit harder for her to chew. Also with a scalpel. Or this is actually called a cutting knife, right? Well, in Croatia we call it scalpel. And if she continues to munch on it, I will just put some rocks. I will glue the rocks down and that should block it enough. Finger glove? And let's go. That should be good. I hate when this happens. Got it all over my finger. On the finger that I didn't use to smear the silicone. Actually, this is not silicone. This is some type of sealant. Compressing it down is usually the key of longevity of the background. So if you are doing this, make sure to press all of that substrate into the sealant or glue or whatever you use. Now we can do a time jump and backgrounds are done. I already cleaned sashenka's background because I was a bit worried that there will be problem with silicone adhering to all part of the background, but the connection is seamless and there is no problem. I don't see any problems. Everything is all right. So I need to get this out and then we can set up this enclosure. Or first, actually let me first clean the RUFILATA's background because this one still got dirt on it. There you see, oof, 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 a bit of dust. Doing these backgrounds is always extremely messy, but it is definitely worth it because this is the final result. Now from what I can tell, majority of old background is covered. We can still see the old background underneath in some areas, but majority is covered. And to be honest, I really dislike how it looks. This wasn't the best idea, and definitely on next background I still have one more background that I need to cover. No, two more backgrounds that I need to cover like this. For them I will definitely cover them completely, because this looks more like a mistake and not something that was intentional. Okay, but it's not that bad. I can live with it. Now let me just get the old substrate out, not substrate, the dirt. Because all this will be reused for some new background. Nothing is thrown away. That is something that I practice in my entire life. Basically, if you order something from the Dark Dead web shop, high chance that the packaging that is inside, like styrofoam balls and other protective packaging, there is a high chance that I reuse that from something that I order from some package. I reuse everything. Even something like small bags, I reuse them for packing plastic parts, even though they cost next to nothing. That is one less plastic bag in trash. And if everyone would practice that, there would be less trash. Now let's put clay balls. You know, the drainage layer. And even these clay balls, they are also reused because they came from old Felix enclosure. When I dismantled that, I just put all the clay balls in the bag and now I'm using it in other enclosures. No reason to throw away perfectly good clay balls. Mesh to separate clay balls from the substrate. Tip, 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 tip. And now we need substrate. Maybe a bit too much for our boil enclosure, but it still needs to be compressed. Oh, and I need to add the cork bark, of course. It will go to the same side where it originally was, but I will tilt it like this, so the light is not shining directly into the hide. I need a little bit substrate behind the cork bark and also inside of the cork bark to stabilize it more. I'll also compress it inside a little bit with tweezer. And that should be enough, but now I need a plant. That will of course come from the junglearium. I'll just yoink one of these plants. There we go. That's one, and another one from here. See, they are living on the actual rock. It is a really hardy plant. Now here you might notice that I left like a hole. This is where I will plant the plant, and that hole is intentional because as the enclosure dries, the top layer dries. And then when you try to water the plant, if there is a slope that I usually create, the water just trickles down the slope. So I need to water it extra more than I would normally water the enclosure. But by leaving a hole like this, the water won't move away and it will stay over there. That way I will know exactly how much water the plant got. But still you see rest of the enclosure got the slope. Alright, now we need a leaf litter, sand for the texture and springtails. Leaf litter is raining down. I'll bury it a bit. Also add these cork barks, pieces of cork bark. Sand for the beautiful texture. Everywhere. And springtails. It is not that I no longer have them, but for some reason they are no longer multiplying as they used to, which is something that worries me. I'll need a lot of them for Junglearium 2.0. And by the way, next video will probably be the beginning of Junglearium 2.0 build. I have the plywood, so I can start cutting it and assembling it. I am so hyped for that, man. Then when I have exact dimensions, I will order the glass. The glass will go within the plywood, and I can also order the styrofoam for the inside, the harder type of styrofoam that will be base for the hardscape. I will build it a bit different than the original Junglearium. Since it will be glass on the inside, I need to make it a bit lighter, you know. I cannot just add million rocks inside. But we are done with the enclosure. The background is a bit bare, which will change within a few months when this plant grows taller. Let's add the tarantula back inside. She must be eager for that. Since the core bark is the same, the enclosure should feel totally familiar. Hey girl, I will try to be gentle. Boink. Oh, she's kinda ignoring, huh? She's kinda, are you alive? Are you alright? You worried me for a bit. Come on, there is something. Oh, well, this is gorgeous, huh? Oh yes, maybe I should snap a picture for Instagram, huh? Instagram story at least. Oh, I actually need to return the door. This is the top panel and the door go back like this. Hey girl, you can continue and go inside. Yeah, that is your hide. Is it familiar, huh? Yeah, feel free to go inside or just go behind it. I really don't mind. Use it as you see fit. Look at her tiny paw. Remember the Tarantula paw Tuesday or Thursday? I don't really remember which day it was. But once a week I would post a picture of Tarantula paw, and this one is so shiny, holy moly. Let me grab a macro lens. This is kinda rare sight to see the other side of Tarantula paw. And it is looking so sweet. I will now leave her alone. And we can tackle Sashenka's enclosure. It will be the same thing, basically the same thing with few less steps. We don't need a drainage layer because there won't be plants inside. And yeah, we don't need plants. But we have more stuff inside, like wood pieces. By the way, my apologies to all of you that were excited for last Sunday's live stream, but hopefully majority of you know that it is postponed for this. The live stream is still happening. It will be a big live stream because I will feed all of my animals and I will have Roach Guy with me to be my cameraman. Doing such a live stream would basically be impossible without the camera guy. He is my life savior. You see how enclosure looks better, much better with these wood pieces. The enclosure would feel empty without them, and also without leaf litter, right? Look how much better this looks. And just tiny bit of sand for the texture right here. And a bit here, right? That's it. The enclosure is done and ready for Sashenka. She's gonna love it, I know. Maybe she will hate leaves until she cover everything with fine layer of silk, but I wish to believe that she will enjoy it. Hey Sashenka, it is time to move. This was just your temporary enclosure and you need to move into your permanent hide. Maybe a pinch grab will be the best. Oh, she doesn't like that, but it is the most elegant solution. There we go. This is sweet, right? And already exploring it. So nice. Or maybe going out of it. No. Sashenka, go back in. I require you to enjoy the enclosure. She's so pretty inside. Also, I should snap a picture for Instagram. But as a post, not a story. I really like how she looks inside. Okay, before she runs away. No, stop. Go back inside. Come on. This is just for you. Yeah, stop right there so I can take a picture. Top panel, the door. Although I cannot attach them with one hand. Door attached and we are done. Ho. Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Time to check her out on her shelf. And I see that light turned off, so much better. Ooh, a bit heavier because there is more substrate inside. Check it out. Here is Sashenka's enclosure and here is RUFILATA's enclosure. Looking good, right? Looking good. I'm loving this. And once new junglarium is here, this will be insane. This room will be insane. Anyhow, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs it up and comment something. If you want to support this channel even more, there's a Patreon page. If you're new to this channel, make sure to, and a webshop page. Don't forget about webshop page, merge and all that stuff. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe up on Monday and sometimes a live stream on Sunday. This Sunday for sure. So see you again really soon. Bye.